This video is a part 2 of my Thomas Wooden Railway collection saga. If you haven't watched part 1, I suggest you do and then see this video. Link in the description, you'll find it there. If you want to see a guy rambling for 20 minutes about toys for children, then this video is for you. And if not, you should watch it too, it's a good watch. Or not, do whatever you want. I'm gonna ramble anyway and no one will stop me. Finally, we can talk about another character. Here is a 1996 Edward with no tender. The old version of Edward is the definition of simple, but it works. But man, this is one of the most plain items in existence. It has like no detail on its sides. Pretty good face though. This is a 2002 to 2010 redesign of Edward, with a tender and in great condition. Edward is a character that really benefited from the redesign. So many details were added like stripes, handrails, and an ugly face. Here is another one in bad condition. This is my childhood Edward. Yeah, as you can see, I didn't take the best care of my items as a kid. This item has seen some serious stuff. I particularly remember bringing this guy to the bathtub with me. I don't know why I'm telling you this. The tender is a spare one I had lying around. I believe the original tender was sold a long time ago. I also have another 2 spare tenders from 2003. I don't know how I ended up with 3 spare tenders, and I usually give one to my 1996 Edward to fill the empty void in my life. It's okay though, I can make the ultimate Edward now. Next we have a 2001 Henry. And y'all are gonna hate me for this, but I'm not a fan of the old style Henry.
You need to leave!
Yeah, I said it. Okay, before you yell at me, let me explain. He doesn't look that bad, his face is pretty spot on, but he looks way too thin. They really should have just given him the same proportions as Gordon. I don't know why they had to make Henry this thin. Also, what is this? No, seriously, what is this? Henry's tender doesn't look like that. This is just a repaint of Gordon's tender. Was it too hard to give Henry an accurate tender? Flaws aside, I'm still glad I own this. I also own a spare 2001 tender in rough condition. Just as a reminder of all my pain and suffering. All my nitpicks were corrected with the 2002 to 2010 Henry, which is a complete Uno reverse card of the 2001 version. What I mean by it is, really accurate, ugly face. Like Edward, Henry's a character that really benefited from the redesign. This Henry's the best version you can get. Okay, second best. Correct proportions, correct tender. Didn't this guy die in the tunnel or something? I have 2 of them and both are in great condition. Mostly. Here we have a favorite character of mine. This is a 1996 Gordon with no tender and no eyebrows. Guys, it's season 2 accurate. If this item would have the tender, it would be my favorite Gordon, but as is, it's pretty good. Here is a 2000 Gordon with eyebrows and a plastic funnel and thicker wheels. The tender is from 2003, but shh. This is probably my favorite Gordon. It's in really good condition. Great item, 10 out of 10. I used to have a 2003 to 2010 Gordon. I don't know what exactly happened to it, but it's long gone now. I swear I looked everywhere and I couldn't find it. It was already in pretty lame condition, so maybe he ran away in fear. What a shame. No worries, here is a 2011 Gordon. It's almost the same as the 2003 Gordon, except... Did I mention my disdain for these faces? He looks really sus, man. Looks like he knows something I don't. Since I lost my 2003 Gordon, I opted to get the 2013 to 2016 Gordon. Similar to Thomas, Gordon has a really accurate face, and his details were a bit refined. I still have the packaging just because this Gordon is that awesome. Here we have a talking Gordon. Oh my god, I wonder what he has to say. Okay, I swear, when I bought this item, it worked properly, but ever since the battery died down significantly. Also, from what I remember, this item didn't speak in English, he spoke in another language. Sounded French, but I don't know, I can barely speak mine. Here is the new 2022 Gordon. I kinda wish the face was the standard happy one, but who cares, man? Look at the detail! Look at the packaging! I like how the wheels are closer to the wheel configuration from the prop. I like the packaging, it's a nice upgrade overall. Out of curiosity, I looked at how Wood Gordon looks and... Here is an interactive learning Gordon's tender. I don't care. Moving on with James, we have a 1993 James's Tender. I know it's kinda random, but I don't choose what items you're gonna find on flea markets. Sometimes you just find the most random stuff imaginable. This is the only Tender I own that has the painted coal instead of the later plastic coal, and has the smallest staples I've ever seen. Truly a unique item in the collection, an antique, a museum piece of a long bygone era of wooden railway. Now let's see a James that is actually complete. A 2000s James, and possibly my favorite James. Learning Curve really got James right. The face is really accurate. It's based on one of my favorite James faces. It has a red dome, which is lame, but the rest of the item is pretty kino, as the kids say. Let's play a game of Spot the Difference. What is the difference between these two James? I'll give you 10 seconds to figure that out. 3, 2, 1, go! That's right, the 2000 James has no name at the bottom, and the 2001 version has a name in the bottom.
It's not funny.
Here is a 2002 redesign of James. And I know I said the previous version of James was my favorite, but I'm seriously reconsidering here. James looks really amazing in the new redesign. It has a golden dome and neat detail all around. Really makes him shine and, you know, splendid. And the face is the most decent looking out of the redesigns. Similar to Thomas, he has no funnel hole. I thought Thomas was the only one who had that quirk at the beginning, but apparently not. The next two are 2003 to 2010 James, funnel hole included. Not much to say here, it's the same James as the 2002 version, there's nothing to say. I mean, it's not like certain versions of this item can potentially poison you.
Children's toy maker is paying more than $1 million for importing and selling toys that contain too much lead.
Oh, yes, in 2007, items with red and yellow paint were found to have excessive amounts of lead paint, a highly poisonous heavy metal material. Learning Curve issued a massive recall. How big was it? Well, is 1.7 million items big enough for you? The items consisted from 2005 to 2007 and was the largest recall Learning Curve ever issued. Why is this important? I don't know, it's a funny story aside from the fact that I distinctly remember buying a James around 2007. Now I really doubt either of these James are from the recall. I don't know how to tell if it is, but just to be sure, I'ma put this item in my mouth. Who knew a wooden toy for children can send you to the hospital? Next we have a 2013 to 2017 CGI Tender. You're probably noticing a pattern here. The thing about Tender engines, most of the times I don't find them complete, and that is something you've seen a lot in this collection so far. Sometimes I find an engine and it takes me years to find the Tender, or sometimes the opposite happens. I find the Tender and it takes me a while to find the engine. Not a huge deal in my opinion, that's just the reality of this business, man. It's just how it is. Still annoying though. I forgot to include it in the video, but here we have a 2015 Introducing James, based on the Adventure Begins movie. This, alongside the Thomas 70 pack, were the only items I went out of my way to get, and were the last items I bought brand new until 2022. This item was supposed to be released 10 years ago for the 60th anniversary, but didn't for some reason. Better late than never, I guess. Really awesome item overall. Awesome paint job, awesome face, it's really accurate, which is what you want to see. I definitely recommend you getting this item, it's so cool. Here is the brand new 2022 James. I've seen a lot of people saying James is the weakest out of the first wave of engines, and I kinda agree. It's too skinny at the top and it makes the wheels judder out more. But aside from that, this is a good James. It has all the charm. All the nice detail, the nice face, the nice packaging. Did I mention how much I love the packaging? This James is good, you'll just mean, okay? I will defend this James till I die. Now let's see all the James that light up, move on their own, or whatever they do. Don't worry, this will be quick. This is a battery operated James from 2000. Another Nick Avocado wannabe. It literally shares the same mold as Thomas. This is the worst James I've ever seen. Okay, second. The 2002 to 2010 version is in appalling condition. Like the button is covered in what looks like cement and it's stuck there forever. I cannot press it down or up. How did it get like this? I would never do that. I take great care of my trains. This is a Lights and Sounds James. Battery also ran out. I am planning to replace the batteries at some point, and by some point I may never. Finally, we have an interactive learning James's Tender. Did I mention that I don't care? Here we have the second most overproduced character ever, Percy the Small Engine. Just like Thomas, Percy was a character that was heavily promoted alongside with James and had like 5,000 versions as well. Although funny enough, I have way less Percys than I thought. The first Percy is a 1992 or 1993-ish Percy. Probably the oldest item in the collection. I know it came before the Thomas since it has the flat funnel and dome, staples, all that jazz. A crown jewel in the collection. Looks pretty good aside from the yellow face. This is an item I'm definitely proud to own. The next Percy is a 2001 Percy. It has all the updates like the better build, plastic funnel, thicker wheel, strong magnet, etc. Really like this version. It looks on point. Next we have two 2002 to 2010 Percys. Another overproduced toy. Almost as common as Thomas. Percy's redesign was really mid. I mean, the detail looks okay, I guess, but the stripes don't go all the way down. And the face really hurts me, I'm sorry. It's probably a good time to say that I really don't like the faces from the 2002 redesigns. The old faces were based off actual faces from the show, just like it should be. As far as I know, the redesigned faces weren't based on the TV series models, they were based on the 2000 stock promotional art that was in everything. Yeah, no wonder the faces look bad. Here is a 2013 to 2016 Percy, which is an okay upgrade. The stripes still don't go all the way down, the face is unnecessarily large, and overall has the same details as the 2003 version, but finally has a brass dome. I'll let it slide, there's not much to say, moving on. This is the newest 2022 Percy, and this is probably my favorite Percy. This one has much better proportions, it's nicely detailed, has a gold dome, the face is really good, and how can I forget the packaging? So far, I only have 4 items of the new Wooden Railway range. For the moment, I'm getting characters that I care for, so the rest of Wave 1 is not a priority for me at the moment. They look pretty good, mostly. But you bet your ass I'm gonna get Henry and Edward soon. Now we're gonna look at the special variants of Percy. First we have a Jack Frost Percy, yes, based on the Series 6 episode where Percy almost freezes to death and scares James.
Hello, James? Muttered Percy icily. Scary Jack Frost, cried James.
That was the best take they had. This is not the same one I had as a kid though. I remember this came with the Snowy Surprise DVD and my 3-year-old self couldn't help but chew it to bits. The ice flakes looked like candy to me. I wasn't a smart kid as you can tell. For a while this was my only Percy until I got a standard one years later. I even have one sealed in this DVD pack. You'd wish you were as cool as me. I did have a Coldust Percy at one point, but I somehow lost it. Or who knows, maybe after he looked at what happened with Edward, he ran away in fear. This is a 2005 60th anniversary Percy. Probably my favorite out of the 3 anniversary items. The silver finish looks amazing, it really reflects on you, although mine is in really rough condition. Also, as a quick side note, Learning Curve was considering making a silver Thomas but never released it. It's a shame. I would have paid top dollar to get this item. This is another anniversary Percy, it's a metallic green Percy. I love metallic engines. They were more common with Ertl and Take-Along, but Wooden Railway got some too, and they looked amazing. I believe Percy was the most common one to find. I'm like 80% sure I got this on a DVD pack. Thomas is really hard to find, and James and Hero were only available in Japan, I believe. But overall, a fantastic Percy. Here is a Deformity. This is an Early Engineers Percy. Early Engineers? What the hell is that? Now let me explain. In 2010, Learning Curve introduced the Early Engineers line. It was designed with really young children in mind. The engines were chunkier and sets were extremely simple. The range only lasted like a year in stores. I guess it was a good idea on paper, but the Wooden Railway brand was already for young kids. Like, I don't really see the point of these. Is your kid really going to die if he holds Spencer for too long? And I'm sorry, but these designs suck. Just buy your kid regular Spencer, you coward. Well, back to the Percy. Could you believe that the face is even worse? This is an interactive Learning Railway Percy. I've been avoiding talking so much about this range because there's not much to say. Percy looks tolerable. Still looks janky as hell. I better move on. I really don't want to end up in the back room. Oh, not again. Here we have a 1997 Toei. It retains all the... Well, after being rudely interrupted, here we have a 1997 Toby. It retains all the basic detail Toby needs to have. Toby is a character that barely changed in 20 years, probably because he's the easiest character to make. He is literally a wooden block. The 2002 to 2007 redesign, I think, barely changed Toby, probably because there is not much to redesign here. The face remained the same, proportions remain the same, the only difference is slightly updated side decals, which makes the item look slightly better. You see, Toby's a square, it's really hard to mess up a square. They somehow did it. Finally, we are done with the first row, now let's move on with the second. Here we have two 2002 to 2009 ducks. I want to speak with the guy who designed the wooden railway duck. Not a bad item, but for some reason he has no funnel, and it's something that was never corrected until 2013. Also, quick update, while I was editing this video I went to a flea market and found a 1996 duck. See what I mean when saying duck never changed? It's not often I find items from the golden era of Wooden Railway, and guess how much I paid for this item? No, really, guess. I'll give you 10 seconds to figure it out. 3, 2, 1, go! Well, you're wrong. I paid nothing. It was free. I'm not joking. The vendor looked at me dead in the eye and said, "Just take it, man." I still can't believe that happened. I'm telling you, flea markets are a blessing. Use their power and knowledge. Donald and Douglas also didn't change much. Here we have a 2003 Donald and a 2001 Douglas.
What does he think he's doing?
It feels pretty good to finally have a set of complete twins. And also as extras we have a 1997 Douglas, which looks exactly the same, and a 1996 Tender. No, the Tender is not empty, it has painted coal, I think. Donald and Douglas look really good overall. Glad to have them in the collection. They have no funnel. You can argue that this is the funnel, but then why is it this far back? Ugh.
That is jacking off.
Next we have a 2003 Oliver. Oliver is one of my favorite props from the television series. He looks so elegant and sleek. My Oliver, well, this alongside the Thomas were the only survivors of the 5-car engine pack, and man, this item has seen better days. This is an item that I've been wanting to replace so badly. He looks like he went to war. Preferably, I would get a 1995 Oliver. I don't know, I just really like that version. This is a CGI Oliver, which is a really good Oliver. It really looks like the CGI render of him, which is what you want to see. It even has green wheels. I don't know why the old one had black wheels, but then again, why does Doc have no funnel? See what I mean? It could be worse though. There is no one quite like her, it's Emily! I put Emily here and not with the Series 7 characters because she did become a main character in Season 7, and the fandom and myself always saw her as number 12, something that became a thing in the show. In its very last season. Seriously, why even bother at this point? This is a 2004 to 2010 Emily, and oh man, they really did Emily dirty. She looks really overweight, and that big ass middle wheel doesn't do the character any favor. And it's not like I can choose another version, she pretty much stayed the same until the wood redesign. The new 2022 version was so close to looking great, but they just had to make her boiler a cube. It's not a deal breaker, but man, they were so close to get the perfect Emily. I have another 2004 Emily with no tender and in rough condition. Why did I do this? I'm tired. I've been editing for like 3 days straight. Just give me the lead paint caboose already. So those were all the main characters of the franchise. I thought this video was gonna be shorter than the Thomas video, but nope. I don't know how it happens, but every time I take a breath, the video is extended by 2 minutes. I don't know, it's just a weird quirk I have. But contrary to popular belief, those were not the only characters from the series. So that means that we're not done yet. Stick around for part 3 and we will see the secondary characters from the franchise. Yes, and I mean all of them. Who could forget such long-lasting characters such as Billy, Hero's Tender, Cletus Gang, and... who is this character again? Hope you guys liked part 2 of the collection saga. I am enjoying my time editing these videos for you guys. I just have so much to say about every item I own. I'm trying to make my videos both entertaining and informative, and I hope I'm making a good job of it. But feel free to leave a comment if you like these styles of videos and how I can improve for the future. I have most of part 3 recorded, but I can't say for sure when it's coming out. I need to focus on trains content as well, and it's difficult for me to focus on 2 big projects at once, so I usually just like try one or the other. Again, I would like to thank my parents and my patrons for their awesome support. You guys rock, and I love you, mom and dad. In the meantime, see you guys next time. Adios.